This is a quick how-to video on the modified flange assembly. Basically what we have is we have a modified bushing. What you want to do is you want to replicate the dimensions of a stock bushing. The only difference is you want to relieve the shoulder back down an extra 9 millimeters. What you want to do is basically make room for a third bearing. Once you get your shoulder made and you duplicate the dimensions, other than taking that shoulder down 9 millimeters, you need a 6905 RS or a 2RS dual sealed stock size bearing. Then you also need a 4905 needle bearing. You can put your own grease in it as long as you load it up. You get one collar. Sometimes you have to order it separately. Sometimes you have to you just order it as an assembly. Depends on what bearing house you go to. A couple of tools I'll be using is basically a piece to pound in the bearings with, fits down inside the bore, and a stop block. This stop block is actually the exact measurement of this race, which is 18 millimeters. Both of these collars fit inside the bore of the flange. First thing you want to do is you want to take your stop piece, the one that was the same size as the bore of the flange, drop that down into the housing. You want to take your modified flange and your dual sealed bearing, get a little bit of grease. You want to grease everything as it goes in. Now from here I'm going to take my little pounder tool, put it on the outside of the race, slowly tap it down into. Okay. Once that's seated, flip it over, make sure that this is still flush. You're able to pull that out. That bearing is installed. Next you want to do is take this needle bearing, pound it in from the spline side. Now you'll notice how easy this goes in. Since it's wider, you get a better bearing area to make sure that it's straight. Once you get that seated in there, you don't have to pound it all the way up to the back side. Basically you just need to get it below that lip. The only way this needle bearing can get damaged other than banging into the seal is if this is too tight. Needle bearings are a little bit more finicky than a ball bearing. This won't fit. Fits perfectly. So that bore will be okay as far as that needle bearing is concerned. Basically how I modified this to begin with was I took a stock flange, I bored a hole all the way through it, and I met this diameter. I didn't take any off this diameter. All I did was bore a hole all the way through it. The next step that you want to do, now that you know that this is flush with this, you want to set it back down. You want to take your modified bushing. Again, a little bit of grease goes a long way. Load her up. Pound this in. Okay. Now when you're all done, if everything goes well, this will spin. That's smooth. As far as I'm concerned, that's okay.